Distro's Takeover Tuesday, the official podcast of Black Fawn Distribution, broadcasting live across the planet and retransmitted on all major streaming platforms. Tonight's program is brought to you in part by Wellington Brewery's Hellas Lager, Deadly Grounds Coffee, Twisted Teas, and of course Canada's #1 genre film company, Black Fawn Distribution. You wanted the best? Well, they didn't make it, so here's what you get.
It's really not that bad.
You are going to hell. Here's your host, Benner from Black Fawn Distro.
Okay, and we are back with another edition of Takeover Tuesday. I'm your host, Benner from Black Fawn Distro, as the intro says. And I've got, we've done a lot of shows over the years, and this is show number 41. So we are back after somewhat of a hiatus, I guess. But I was asked, hey, listen, maybe you should get the podcast back on the air. And so I decided to do that. So yes, but I've got some news coming up for you. And I got a pretty big announcement as well as part of the show, and as well as some new segments. So we're going to keep things pretty chill, but at the same time, they should be pretty exciting as well. So, of course, we're broadcasting live to Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube right now, and then retransmitting on all the major streaming platforms and podcast platforms, including Spotify and Apple. So how our new format is going to change is we are still going to go live. We're going to do a couple of episodes per month at the very minimum. And then what we're going to do, so tonight's episode is going to be broadcast on on all the podcast platforms next Tuesday. So every Tuesday, we're going to have something new coming out, and we're going to have some additional content as well coming out, which I'll get to in just a moment. But of course, remember to like, share, follow, subscribe, whatever you can do, smash that button, ring the bell, do whatever you need to do to help us support the show. It would really mean a lot to myself as well as the rest of the team. And of course, if you feel like going the extra mile, please leave us a review or tell your friends about the show. It helps us spread the word about the program, but also helps support our guests and the awesome projects that they're currently working on. And they are working on some super, super cool stuff. Quick shout out to our sponsors, of course, Wellington Brewery's Hellas Lager, Deadly Grounds Coffee, and Twisted Teas, longtime supporters of the show, and they continue to support us with some product as well as just getting the word out there for us as well. So happy to hit them back with some support as well. So as I mentioned, apologies for the radio silence because we've just had a lot of stuff going on. But as I mentioned, we're going to get the show back up off the ground. It's back on the airways right now. We're broadcasting live, but I needed help this time because we wanted to up the ante. We wanted to up the production value, and we wanted to bring in somebody that could actually help support the show and also bring some value to the show because of their knowledge and extensive knowledge of horror and movies and guests and everything like that. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my new co-host. So this is the co-host of the show. She is a writer, a podcaster, an all-around awesome person, a good friend. She was also a guest on episode 16 herself. So if you can figure out who this is, but this is how this works. And you come on the show and you guest, and then all of a sudden, guess what? You end up co-hosting the show with me. I'm of course talking about the Kellraiser herself, Kells McNells, Kelly McNeely. Welcome to the show, Kelly. You are my new co-host. I know this is, I know now you're like, I don't really know how I got roped into doing this, but hey, this is how this rolls. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being my co-pilot on this new journey. How you doing, and what can you tell our audience about yourself and how you came to be on the program?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. A little bit about myself. I am a tea drinking, craft making, machete wielding screen junkie. I've been writing for a couple different sites for a couple years, doing lots of coverage, podcasts, guest appearances here and there. It's YouTube stuff, all around the internet, more or less. But I'm very excited to be part of this project, which I feel like it kind of started when we just ended up doing our first intoxicated interview, and it just kind of steamrolled from there. So
if you want to check out that intoxicated interview, that episode of Creepy Cocktails is actually on our YouTube channel. So make sure you check that out. But you are. I should have included mixologist in that introduction because you do make the best drinks and the best cocktails. Yeah, I think we're going to do it again too. So everyone stay tuned for that. I think we're going to,
Sure.
but thank you for doing this. I did 40 of these episodes by myself. And like I said, we just wanted to sort of take this thing to the next level. And I always sort of have a vision in my head that I can't, I always see things like a few years down the road, which is a gift and a curse. But I kind of was like, hey, how do we make this, like, what if this was kind of like an actual television program? What if this was like a big show? I was like, I need a co-host, right? So, and I thought of you because I thought you'd be perfect for it. So yeah. So thanks. So yes, if you have any questions for Kelly, of course you can throw them down in the comment section below on whatever platform you're tuning in on, and we'll get to them throughout the program. But please do that. Please reserve some questions for our guest as well. I'm of course talking about Brigitte Kingsley. She's an actress and producer extraordinaire. I'll get to her intro in a second. But really, I mean, she is a very, very accomplished professional in the film industry. She's got lots of stories, lots of experience, and I think she's going to. We're pumped to talk to her because of obviously her new film Rocktapussy is just coming out a little while ago, and I mean, we want to hear stories from the set and all that stuff. If you checked us out on Instagram today, we shared a whole bunch of behind the scenes photos and that sort of stuff from Brigitte, which is really, really cool. So check those out if you haven't already. So now. Listen, before we get there, we made some changes to the format, and you're going to see what those are right now. Hopefully you all like them. Give us some feedback. If you're missing something, we'll see if we can bring it back. But I wasn't sure if I was going to do this, but I do feel like I need to say there is no more fried chicken sandwich report, unfortunately. Because I decided to start eating a little bit healthier, and I was also like eating a fried chicken sandwich to review it, but then also having like an additional fried chicken sandwich, and then so anyway, unfortunately, R.I.P. Rip.
The chicken has crossed the road. Yeah,
chicken has crossed the road. And I honestly just wanted to play this soundbite one more time. That's the end. No more fried chicken sandwich report, but we got some good stuff going on. Let's get into it. I'm talking too much, which is another reason that Kelly is part of the program now to keep me in check. Play me my Oscar walk-off music if I get rambling too much. But listen, we got a great program tonight. Brigitte is in the green room. We can't wait to talk to her. But first off, let's hit the news.
Top story. Top story. We'll give you the world. We'll give you the world. This may be the most important decision of your life. Can't stand the heat. Get out of the kitchen. Any special message for all the kids watching at home? You can't stand the heat. Get out of the kitchen.
Top story.
And remember, we care. We care. There are certain inherent risks that come with the territory. Top story. Top story. We'll give you the world.
Top story.
Okay, here is the news section, which we have rebranded as New Thrills and Fresh Kills. That is a Kells McNell's original. Listen, this is the news segment. It's actually brought to us by Deadly Grounds Coffee as well, who have this really, really cool new coffee line, which is called Schlockbuster, which is right here. And they've got a long line or a new line of coffees, which are just absolutely, they sound awesome. This is called the Texorcist. It's a peanut butter cup coffee. And if you don't know anything about Deadly Grounds Coffee, I highly suggest that you go and check them out. They operate out of Curtis, Ontario, which is near Oshawa. And if you feel like a road trip, go out to their cafe, check it out. It's all filled with horror stuff, genre stuff. It's absolutely awesome. And they also they also make our coffee, which is the Appetite for Caffeination. Sweet Toffee O' Mine. It's back in stock in the Black Fawn distribution store if you want to pick up a bag, $15. But also, if you go to Deadly Grounds Coffee, if you go to their website and anything you order off the site, you can actually get 13% off if you use the code TAKEOVER. So big thanks to Brad for his support with the show over the years. And of course, I'll throw this up at the bottom here. So if you're watching this live, you can check it out. But yes, go to Deadly Grounds Coffee. I always mix this up. So I think it's deadlygroundscoffee.ca. Yes, deadlygroundscoffee.ca. Check them out. They've got a whole crazy amount of coffee there. It's all really good. Our stuff is like rocket fuel. So if you do need that extra kick in the morning, make sure you check that out. And if you order anything off Deadly Grounds Coffee's website, remember to use the code TAKEOVER. You get 13% off at checkout. So, okay, let's move on. News. Kelly, what do you got for us? What's our top story?
Our top story for today is probably my favorite news on the internet this week, which I think is hilarious. Tommy Wiseau of The Room fame is making or has made a shark attack movie set in New Orleans. The movie is called Big Shark. It is scheduled for release later this month, and I am so excited because the whole concept of Tommy Wiseau making a shark attack movie is just that's so good. I love it so much.
And of course, we wanted to include this just so we could say, "Oh, hi, shark."
Oh, hi, shark.
So,
just because.
Weird. Like, I know everyone's making shark movies, but like,
this will be the shark movie to end them all. This will be it. This is all we need from now on. No more Jaws, nothing else. I think it just premiered. Yeah, so it just premiered in early April, and it's coming out at the end of April for a limited release. So we're gonna have to get our hands on that, and we'll try and do some sort of review on it, I think, coming up. Okay, so moving on, you want to talk? We got another segment called Body Count, right? Which is basically our box office review. Yes. We
kind of wanted to include this each episode just to kind of give a shout out to horror films and genre films that are kicking ass at the box office, just because. It's honestly, man, I think that's a big turning point right now in films. I think studios are trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And I feel like horror movies perform or overperform every single time. I think we saw that with Megan. We saw that with a bunch of other films that came out last year and this year. Tell us what's up at the box office this past weekend.
Yeah. So John Wick 4 has, again, completely demolished the box office. It made about $245 million globally. As a comparison, the original John Wick, the first one, made like $86 million worldwide. So this is such a huge step for the franchise, which is really incredible. Also a note that Scream 6 is continuing to garner up cash, continuing to make that money, which is phenomenal. Because again, we're getting audiences in theaters for horror movies. And the more we get to see horror movies, the more we get to see horror movies. So this is great news for everyone involved, I think.
Yeah, an original Scream grossed $173 million worldwide. So it looks as though Scream 6 is going to surpass that eventually, which is pretty crazy. I guess we're going to see a Scream 7. That's probably what that means. So And Kelly, because this is your first show, you have to go through some sort of initiation because that's the way it rolls here. But like, but how are your plans to go see Scream 6? Because I understand you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I know. I know you're asking me this because I haven't seen it yet. I'm planning to go this Thursday. I finally have a day off. I'm going to do it. I'm locking myself to a theater seat. I'm dedicated. This is going to happen because there's no excuse at this point.
Okay, awesome. Sorry, but I guess it's got to be said. It's got to be said, right? So
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'll give you that.
Okay. And speaking of going to things where you can get locked up, of course, upcoming event, we've got Scumbags of the Universe Rejoice. Shock Stock is back. The 11th incarnation, I believe, of the counterculture event that takes place in usually in May or April or May. This year, it's going to be May 5th, 6th, and 7th, 2023, at the beautiful, fantastic, fabulous Ramada Hotel in London, Ontario. If you haven't gone to Shock Stock, I can't tell you what it is. Other than that, you have to go and you have to experience it. I can't wait to go. Kels, you've gone a couple times before, right?
I have, yeah. It's an amazing experience because it's just the perfect combination of large enough that everyone's having a blast, but small enough that everyone's really having a blast. You kind of get to know each other. You get to wander around, see lots of cool stuff, experience lots of cool people. It's a wonderful experience. And I think also because I don't want to say isolated in beautiful London, Ontario, but it's in an area in beautiful London, Ontario, where there's not maybe a lot else to do in beautiful London, Ontario. So it kind of makes everybody party around, stick around, and have a really good time after hours as well, which is really amazing.
Just laying the compliments down in London, Ontario. You're welcome, London, Ontario. We expect you to the city for sure. Okay. Well, and listen, we decided to do another quick segment too. So, called the chopping block, and we did this really cool graphic for it. So check it out. Okay, so this is another installment of the chopping block. And what it is that myself and Kelly decided to get together and we were like, okay, listen, let's review some stuff and let's make some recommendations for both streaming and digital media that's out there, as well as physical media. So we're going to, it's pretty simple, right? We watch stuff all the time and we just want to let other people know what they can check out and where. So you've got a recommendation, I think, for us, right, Kelly?
Scary movies.
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
My favorite scary movie of recent history for my Streams and Screams segment is Barbarian, which is streaming on Crave and Disney Plus, I believe. I saw it in theaters, and this was one of the instances where I actually got it to go see something in theaters. So that was really fun. But I had such a blast with this movie because it completely subverted my expectations. I didn't really know what I was going in for because I like to not see trailers sometimes if it's a movie I'm like really particularly curious about. And so I went in totally blind, and I'm so glad I did because I was just blown back by how silly it is and inventive and creative and just kind of twists and turns. The cast is amazing. It's directed by Zach Kreger, who I didn't realize directed it, but he's known from The Whitest Kids You Know, which is like a comedy troupe from the mid 2000s, which is kind of dating myself a little bit here. But I was such a fan of their work back then. And I love to see any comedian take on a horror role. That's always delicious. I think it's an amazing transformation. And I really enjoy this one.
And you know what? I loved it as well. And you told me that too. You said, don't watch anything, just put it on and you'll love it. And I love movies where you can't really tell who you're supposed to be cheering for. I love that sort of like game where the filmmakers play where they're like, okay, well, you might like this character. No, you're not supposed to like this character, and vice versa. And so really, really, really cool. Cool flick. And also before we get to this, I mean, no physical release for it yet, which is surprising because it was such a big hit. Bill Skarsgård's in it. It's pretty awesome.
Justin Long is in it.
I'm not sure. What's that?
Justin Long is in it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know what they're waiting on. I mean, Disney has they got some issues right now. So we'll see. I'm sure Barbarian isn't on the top of their list for, so Benner can buy a copy of it. Right. So, but anyway, hey, let's talk about some physical media.
Got to return some videotapes.
My recommendation for the physical media this week is the Amityville Horror, which is right here. So this is the Vinegar Syndrome re-release of the 1979 classic film starring James Brolin and Margot Kidder. Really, really cool release. It's got a great transfer on it, and they've actually restored it. I mean, these guys do such great work. I'm big into 4K right now. I really do feel it's the next wave of home video that's, I think, might stick around. I think it looks so good. This movie's over 40 years old, right? It's a classic. Very, very poorly reviewed when it came out. It was a box office sensation. Probably based on mostly to do with the hype from The Exorcist. I think that carried over to this film, but also released before The Shining. And there's spoilers a little bit, but there's a guy with an axe. There's a screaming family. Like, it's got some really cool visual effects in it and practical effects. And so I highly recommend checking this out. Vinegar Syndrome's Amityville Horror. And of course, lots of 70s. The 70s have never looked so good in this movie. Like Margot Kidder and James Brolin, something for the guys and the gals out there. Both look fantastic in 4K. So there you go. Jason Rockman, if you're watching, pick that flick up. I know you're asking about it. It's really good. So definitely worth the purchase. And we've got another little segment talking about physical media. Let's do it. We actually, the only reason I think we did this is because we wanted to play this clip, but so let's play the clip and people will get the idea, right?
What's in the box?
Yeah, what's in the box? Let's talk about it, Kelly.
So what's in the box is our special release segment where we are going to be sort of giving you guys the opportunity to take home something at the end of the show. So what is in the box this time, Benner? Do we have
an actual box? I'm opening it up.
We have an actual box. This box contains Smile. I pull it out. There we go. Smile on Blu-ray.
Out of the box.
There we go. Out of the
Blu-ray.
box.
Yeah. So
it also contains the short film that this sort of film was developed from, which is a really cool thing to see. Very exciting.
And yes, you can enter to win this really, really cool flick. All you have to do is ask our guest a question tonight, or because it's live, right? Or if you're not watching live, leave a comment about why you dig Takeover Tuesday, why you dig our program, why you dig the show. And you can do that on any platform. We'll kind of sift through all the comments over the next week. And then whoever has the best comment, get creative. Like, we want to see some creativity and, whatever, make us laugh or whatever. You'll get this copy of Smile shipped to your house for free. Now, we are a sponsored program, as I said at the top of the show, but we are not sponsored by Paramount, which I believe put this out. Yes, Paramount. We're not sponsored by Paramount. We actually went out and bought this film because we believe in supporting physical media and spreading the word about cool films. But there's also, hold on.
Wait, there's more.
There's more. You also get a free toque from Salem Frights. Of course, this is printed along with my hat by the fantastic people over at Twisted Tees who sponsor the show. I throw that box over there. And they're a fantastic company. If you're looking to get print stuff done, embroidery, hats, shirts, hoodies, toques, whatever, make sure you hit up Twisted Tees. They are fantastic. And they run this haunted house. So look at this toque. It's so good. No, other way. No, point the other direction.
I was gonna say, what side am I on?
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, for Salem Frights, they run a haunted. Basically, it's a haunted house. I don't know if it's a haunted house. It's more like a haunted.
It's a haunted experience.
Haunted experience at Salem, Ontario, not Salem, Massachusetts, Salem, Ontario, which is just outside Elora, Ontario, which is just outside Guelph. Check it out. They run the whole thing. They run the last 2 weeks of October. We're going to hopefully have Daryl on one of the programs to talk about that stuff really soon or later on, closer to Halloween. But it is definitely a worthwhile experience to go check out and really, really fun time. So shout out to Daryl at Twisted Tees. Also shout out Smile. Again, everyone out there, please comment below. Leave a question for our guest, which is obviously Brigitte Kingsley, coming up soon. And obviously, if you're listening to one of our retransmissions where it's not live, leave a comment anyway. And if we see something that's awesome, hey, maybe we select your comment as the winning one, and you will win these prizes. Okay, so that's about it for the chopping block. That's the end of our first edition of this, but we're going to do it every episode. And, we'll see you again on the next episode of the chopping. Now I said the chopping block twice. So now you're going to have to edit that out, I think, for the but anyway, whatever. Anyway, that's it for another edition of the chopping block. We'll see you next time. So as I mentioned before, our guest tonight is none other than Brigitte Kingsley. Let's check the resume, shall we? So she's an actress and producer extraordinaire. She's carved out multiple roads within the film industry while also cultivating a personal brand that reaches across the continent and around the globe. Brigitte has a long list of credits, including TV shows with cult-like followings such as Dark Rising, as well as feature-length films that lean heavily into the genre space. Her latest project, Astonishing Tales of Terror, Rocktapussy, is currently available on Blu-ray and digital across Canada from, Black Fawn Distro. So, shameless self-plug, but it's also available in the United States on Tubi. So if you're in the United States, you can check it out down there on Tubi. The Canadian phenom joins us to discuss her formidable career as well as the filmmaking process, both in front of the camera as well as behind it. And hey, listen, from calendar shots to octopuses of rock, the one and only Brigitte Kingsley is live on the other side. And we'll get to chatting with her next. But let's take a look at the trailer for Rocktapussy, give everyone a taste as to what they're getting into. And we'll be right back after this.
What's it gonna take? A little more than a dance.
I just have one question.
Would you care to comment about the allegations of drug use that has plagued your time in office?
The hell is this?
You did good, Hunter. Hell, maybe we could finally clean up the city.
You know, you can be a real reporter without the dancing.
Have a good evening. I need to get down to where they're holding the experimental mining tests. Hey there.
Turn it off now.
I tried to warn you,
But you wouldn't listen.
What was that? Your name's not in the country because my parents were a bunch of hippies. We should find a way out of here.
Agreed.
these eggs.
Yeah, they're eggs.
Oh, we are all gonna die horrible, horrible deaths.
We can make it.
You're always so gung-ho.
I follow my gut. Always. Trust me. This is what I do. I chase.
Make me understand why I should just let you run off to your death.
Because I want to feel that spark of magic, of possibility, of monsters and adventure.
I'm scared.
Exactly.
crazy as it sounds. A giant goddamn octopus. Oh, Jesus, I'm shaking.
Oh, God, here we go.
Okay, and we're back, and I'm joined with obviously my co-host Kels McNells, but also our guest tonight, Brigitte Kingsley, all the way from. Well, you can tell us where you're broadcasting from tonight, but welcome to the program. So happy that you're here. Thanks for your patience. I know it just took a little longer than expected, but I did say that I talked a lot. So, hey, welcome to the program. How you doing?
Great. Thanks so much for having me. It's awesome to be here.
Awesome. Amazing. Well, we've got we've got a lot of comments rolling in. Of course, we just rolled the trailer for Rocktapussy, and lots of, we got a couple comments from our audience tonight. Rocktapussy was excellent. This guy just has all these hearts emojis and like other emojis, which is awesome. And lots of people checking out the film, which is really, really cool. And it's got a great response. Of course, you can see it behind me. We did a re-release, a special edition release of the film with this limited edition slipcase. They're sold out. They're gone, which is amazing. But again, we've got some hard-hitting questions for you tonight. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So, listen, the film itself is such an interesting project just because, you guys sort of built it up from scratch. It was sort of a love letter to adventure movies, action movies, genre movies, horror movies. But it's sort of a passion project for you guys, and especially for yourself. Can you just like walk us through like the genesis of the project? Because a lot of people I've talked to, I'm like, so this flick's called Astonishing Tales of Terror, Rocktapussy, and people go, sorry, what? So, but it's a lot of fun. Walk us through the process of how this thing came to life.
Okay. Well, Andrew, who is both my business partner and my husband, we work together on all of these projects, and we go on these long drives, and we have we tend to be sort of like, let's work on stuff that we're passionate about, but just things that are fun. And there was this one road trip where we were driving, and I had just come back from AFM, which is the American Film Market. And at the time, there's a lot of like the Sharknadoes and a lot of these sort of mishmash of movies. And we're like, well, what kind of combination would be scary? And Andrew's like, I don't know, maybe like Spider Bear, a big bear with like 8 legs. And we were sort of joking around and making fun of the genre. And then all of a sudden, Andrew's like, what about like Rocktapussy, a giant rock octopus? And we started joking about the premise and what it would be about. And then before we knew it, we're like, you know what? We could do something really fun with this. And then as much as it started as a joke, we got attached to the idea, and Andrew started brainstorming some ideas, and then he wrote a script. And then we kind of fell in love with it, and we're like, let's just do this. Let's have some fun, work with some people that we love, and do this love letter to that pulp sort of film vibe. So
awesome. And did you have like had you been thinking about this for like before then, do you think, like as far as like just growing up watching those flicks and comics, and like it's got a lot of influences, and you can kind of tell. Kelly, I know you had said that it feels like it has some of the grindhouse elements to it, but not in the way that was sort of the standard way that they've been exploited as kind of like new. I use these air quotes. Like, I mean, that was your comment on it, right?
Yeah, it's kind of action adventure. It feels kind of like almost like Goonies, but for like a 70s grindhouse audience in a way, which I really, really loved. So I just wanted to see if you could like talk a little bit about that, and again, like how that kind of tone came to the film.
Well, I think that came a lot from Andrew. So Andrew's the one that wrote it, and he created it, and he loves comic books, and he loves that old pulp vibe. And I always joke, like Andrew's movies are always sort of a mishmash of different genres. So it's never like making just a horror film or making just a comedy. It's taking a few different elements and putting a spin on it. And I think that's what makes his movies so interesting. And that's what he did with this. Like he had this love for the old, even the old art, and he got some paintings made of the characters and stuff like that. And everything was definitely inspired by that era for him. And again, it came from him being a child and walking into these stores and watching, the covers of those magazines and just being enamored by it and being in a place in his life where he's like, oh, I can recreate this. I can make an homage to this sort of genre. So
did you almost just say omelet there? Because
I was trying to say homage.
But that's interesting too.
Sometimes my words come out like I pronounce them wrong, and Andrew makes fun of me all the time.
So it's funny, like because we've talked before about the film, obviously. But I just say that jokingly, but I remember you were telling me a story how you walked onto set the first time, or I think it was one of the second time, because Andrew is just very much like he's very hands on in every aspect of the production, and I do want to talk about that too, because both obviously you're the star of the movie, but you also work as the producer behind the scenes as well, which you've told me some funny stuff about that too, just as far as like who does what, right? Which is great, very, very interesting. But what was it like? I mean, he built these sets from scratch, basically, and I don't even know how much time he put into them, but they look amazing. Can you just kind of walk us through that too, like what it was like to walk on set for the first time and see sort of like these sort of environments that you've obviously just read on a page really come to life?
It was so much fun, because what we did is we rented a warehouse up north. So we're up in North Bay. I was still in Port Perry doing a lot of the production stuff, and Andrew was driving up north and spending literally weeks building these sets. He had a couple guys up there that helped him, specifically this one guy, Kelly, and Andrew would walk in and he's like, I'm kind of thinking this. And he would explain his vision, and then Kelly would structurally make it sound, and Andrew would start sort of piecing together the creative aspect of it. And I would only come every couple of weeks or so. So every time I came to set to visit to see what they had done, it was so fascinating to me. And it was such an incredible experience, because you walk into almost his world, because Andrew will, he'll come up with these ideas and these locations and these things, and he'll try to explain to them, but it's all in his head. And then when you walk into his world, essentially, that he's built, it's absolutely fascinating. And if you get to watch the movie, I mean, we're talking about, an entire underground cavern with, pool sets and lava pits and sacrificial chambers. And so it was absolutely fascinating to go visit every few weeks and see the progress of that set.
And practical sets too, right? Not necessarily green screen or anything like that, like real stuff that you can interact with. And is that, is that helpful? Like as when you're sort of acting in a role like that, to sort of immerse yourself in that sort of environment to kind of bring the characters to the screen as well?
We've done it both ways. We actually just shot a disaster movie where a lot of stuff was picture this big tornado over here and picture this and picture that. And a lot of it was had to be in your head. Whereas on Rocktapussy, Andrew really built the world. So when we were in a lava pit, we were literally up on a ledge in what felt like a lava pit. So we were, shimmying against the walls and trying not to fall. It creates just such an incredible experience for an actor, because we're living it. It's very different than the make-believe of the green screen that is everywhere now. So.
Yeah.
And that said, like as a producer, as well as someone that I understand you kind of had your hands in a lot of the areas working back screen as well, what would you say was your biggest personal challenge with this film, with the role, with the character, with every aspect of making it? What was the biggest challenge for you?
I think the biggest challenge is because it was a passion project. A lot of it was self-financed. And so we didn't have the huge budget that allowed us to just, go in there and shoot everything over the course of a month and a half. It was literally, we shot over the course of a year. We were working around people's schedules. So we had a couple actors from Star Trek, which then you're starting to, okay, we could do this weekend here and maybe this day over here. And then, we were building sets and then repurposing those sets. So, shutting down for 2 weeks to build a new set. And then there were times where we actually shut down for 2 months to shoot a completely different movie so that we can, we would do sort of the Christmas movies to finance a little bit more of Rocktapussy. So the challenge was really when you shoot over the course of a year with an ensemble cast, you're juggling a lot of things. Plus you're doing it up north, which is, a 3.5-4 hour drive for most people. So it was a lot of just trying to manage, the schedules and and making sure nobody changes their hair over the course of a year. We all physically change over a year. So it was a lot of things like that were very challenging, but completely worth it.
And speaking of actors that you've worked with, sorry, Ben.
No, go ahead.
Speaking of actors that you've worked with kind of a bit, I understand that Landy Cannon, you kind of go back to Dark Rising together. What was it? How involved was he in developing the character of Carrie? And what was it like kind of getting to work with him again? I know you worked with him a few times now. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was our 8th project together, I believe.
Wow.
And so in terms of the creation of it, he wasn't really involved, but where it was interesting is that when Andrew wrote the character, he wrote the character with Landy in mind. So he knows all of Landy's strengths and his sort of his own background. So he, in a lot of ways, he wrote that character specifically for him with some of his own character traits. So it was really fun. And having Landy on set is like family, we've done so many projects with him, and we actually, the one that we just wrapped, he's in that one as well. So we just did number 9 together.
So he's a funny guy too. Like he does have really great comedic timing. And I thought like some of the jokes in Rocktapussy really land because he doesn't even say anything. He just has this look, which is really, really funny. And it's so well timed. And that was one of the things I remember when I watched the movie for the first time, where I was like, this is playing. I mean, the movie knows what it is. It knows what it's trying to do, but it's actually genuinely funny in the parts where it needs to be, and touching in other spots. And I thought that was pretty interesting in how that was all kind of like combined and blended together. Is that something you kind of set out to do, or yourself and Andrew set out to do originally, or was that more so just the chemistry sort of on set, and like did things just sort of get improvised here and there, or was it all from the page?
It was all, like, I have to say, it was all in the script for the most part. Like, Andrew really thought that script through, and there was a lot of layers with all of his projects. He tends to layer it up pretty much. And I mean, part of it was there was definitely a great vibe on set, and we all had a great time together. And there was a few moments here and there where people would improv stuff, but I think it was such a collaboration with such a great group of people with a strong script that I think that's where it came from, really.
Awesome. Well, we've got a great audience tonight. Thanks everyone for tuning in. And of course, don't forget to ask, if you've got a question for either myself and Kelly, you can definitely ask us, but more importantly, if you have a guest or a question for our guest, Brigitte, please post it in the comments section below. Do it. Why not? Right. We'll make you part of the conversation live on air as we broadcast live to Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. And of course, if you're watching this on the retransmission on any of the podcast platforms, hey, we might ask your question as well on the air, and you'll be immortalized in the history of podcasting. So let's get to some questions. We got some questions, some comments, lots of stuff rolling in. Just a question, or just a comment from John said, love Brigitte and Andrew's stuff since Dark Rising. Rocktapussy was a blast, and its message about empowered women resonated with Brigitte's underrated real life accomplishments, which I think we're going to talk about that later on too. So great comment. Thanks. We've got just some emojis coming in. Our longtime listeners of the show, Orange Hat Film Productions. What's up, guys? It's been too long. I don't know if they're talking about the length that the show's been off the air or the amount of talking I've done tonight. Sean's just saying hello. Scotty Wakefield's just saying, what's up, dude? I think that's to me. Hey man, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Let's see here. What else we got? So Dan McKnight chiming in here. Brigitte and Andrew make great films. Looking forward to this takeover. Thanks for tuning in, Dan. Appreciate it. And first time listening, finding it very informative. You are both very good. Oh, well, thanks. I appreciate it. Check out our other episodes. They're back up or uploaded on YouTube. But we think the new format works, so we do appreciate that for sure. Okay, so let's. Sorry. And Sean actually just commented, Rocktapussy is a ton of fun. I really, really enjoyed it. Thank you. Okay, so and more stuff coming in. Rocktapussy definitely rocks. And another one, Rocktapussy was amazing. Can't wait for Icyclone. Will we ever see Somerville again, BK? So I don't know if you want to talk about that, but what can you tell us about that?
About Somerville?
Sure, yeah.
it's a project we obviously did in 2006. And then it lasted a good 7 years with 2 feature films and 2 television series. It's something I would love to do a Dark Rising 3. But unfortunately, I don't currently own the rights. And if I ever do, I will absolutely make a 3rd.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, this is I am going to throw this up just because it's funny and just because I like this stuff. But Mark is saying, first of all, could I get a birthday shout out? Sure, happy birthday, Mark.
Happy birthday.
We're not singing for you, but happy birthday. Hope you're having a good one. My question is, have you ever seen yourself in the world of pro wrestling? I could see you as a producer or on-air talent. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I actually have always thought of myself as a bit of a wrestling promoter. I love wrestling. I just got through WrestleMania, 2 nights of it. And I could talk wrestling all day long. So if there are any wrestling podcasts, but I don't know if that's a question for you guys. I just took it as a question for myself. But any comments? Kels, have you thought about doing wrestling?
Oh yeah, I got to come up with my wrestling name. But I feel like I should get up with a signature move though. I got to work on that, and that'll be my next like big project. Is I got to develop that and really hone my skills as someone that just bashes faces and I don't know, probably elbows. I imagine a lot of elbows would be involved.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I have a fun fact about wrestling.
Sure, yeah.
So I was the very first person to do the unprettier on Christian Cage.
Really?
Yeah. In Dark Rising 1.
What? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's amazing. Christian Cage, fellow Canadian. That's one of the greatest finishing moves ever. Is the
it's super fun.
So awesome. Quick, I just want to shoot one last question here because I do feel like it kind of is fairly important. But Sean's just got a question here saying, Brigitte, what actors have influenced, inspired you as a performer? Anyone in particular that you kind of pull from or have pulled from throughout your career?
Oh gosh, I mean, my favorite to watch, like the one person that I feel is just so talented is Rachel McAdams. I love everything she does. I think she's just great, and she has like just this natural vibe to her that I love. But
and from London, Ontario, I believe, right?
I know she actually went to York as well. So.
Oh my goodness, Jake, if you're listening, like maybe Rachel McAdams as a guest at Shockstock, right? Yeah, lots of love for London tonight. If there's any listeners from London tuning in, hey, let me know what's going on down there. I'd love to know. But I will be there in person in May at Shockstock, which, again, if you haven't gone to, need to go and experience that at least once in your life. You'll probably regret it, but it'll still be an awesome time. So, okay. Anyway, listen, enough joking around. Getting back to getting back to Rocktapussy. It was, we just talked about yourself and Andrew. You're married, you're a filmmaking team couple, you work on various different aspects. Can you how does, your company Good Soldier Films is your production house. You also have other companies for distribution and that sort of thing as well. Walk us through that. Like, how did that come to be? And how did you guys decide, hey, listen, we're going to do this as a team. We're going to do it together. I'm sure like anything filming, it's like filming movies is stressful. I think that's a universally accepted fact. How do you guys balance all that stuff together?
So the way it kind of all came together was we actually met in university. And I obviously wanted to be an actor. Andrew wanted to be a director. And when we graduated, I was like, oh, you graduate and you get your dream role. And that's fantastic. Turned out that's just not how it works. And I had met Andrew by auditioning for one of his films. And I was like, this guy's so talented. So I went up to him and was like, hey, like if you write a movie, I'm just going to figure out how to produce. We'll just figure it out together. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. So he wrote his first feature that we started to do together, which was Medium Raw. And I was like, even if it takes us 10 years, we're going to do this. It's going to be great. And honestly, we're 2 kids, completely naive, too young to know any better. And we're like, it's going to be a $1.5 million feature. We're going to have all these like actors in it. It's going to be amazing. And we just got schooled for like many years, and it took us 10 years, but we made that movie for the 1.5 million. And that was kind of the beginning of the company. And in the process of trying to figure out how to do Medium Raw, we ended up doing Dark Rising as like as a test run of how to do a feature film. And then that took off. So we sort of did some of those projects. And then yeah, it was just sort of a promise of two kids trying to figure out how to have a career. And we stayed just very dedicated to it. And then as we grew, we did all these independent projects, and we were incredibly poor as we found out that indie films don't make you millions of dollars.
What? They don't? Wait, I'm just finding out about this now.
I know. And so at one point we're like, okay, now that we have all of this experience, maybe we should try to make some money doing these movies. And then the company just kept sort of growing, and we started branching it off in two directions. So we have our passion projects, which is our, Rocktapussy and all of like Night Cries and all of these films that we do that Andrew writes. And they're often self-financed. And then on the flip side of the company, we do sort of the, some Hallmark movies, and, we did this disaster film. And those are sort of broadcast ready projects that sort of give us a regular income and allow us to sort of, invest in our own projects. And that's kind of how we've structured it. Andrew's always been more on the creative side. I've always been on the business side. And we just kind of support each other's goals and dreams. And that's how we roll. So
to be young again, right? What's something you would do? Like, speaking of that, because I mean, we do have a lot of, younger filmmakers sometimes tuning into the program or listening to this on the rebroadcast, but getting into the business and stuff. I mean, everyone figures out that it's not as easy as everyone thinks. But what's something that I don't want to say like a piece of advice, but what's something maybe you would have done differently? I think like in the past, that now that you've had so much experience in the industry, like looking back, what's something you would have maybe done differently on a project that you think would have helped it, come out faster or whatever that might help out.
Honestly, I don't know if I would have done anything differently, but I like my advice to young filmmakers is basically don't listen to anybody else. It's like we had this blind enthusiasm of youth when we came out, and everybody told us, you can't do this, you can't do that. There's no way you're going to raise this money. There's no way you can, act and produce and direct and all of these things. And we were so stubborn and so sure that we could do it that we just put blindfolds on and didn't listen to anybody, and we just kept trying. And I think it's less about the immediate talent. It's more about the perseverance that you have. So I think like where young filmmakers need to focus is they just need to keep getting up every morning and doing it. And you're going to fail and you're going to fail and you're going to make your first movie and you're going to think it's going to be the most brilliant thing you're ever going to do. And then you do it. And then you're like, oh crap. Okay. I do have some learning to do. And then you do your next one and you keep, every project is such a great learning experience. There's a million things I would love to be able to do differently throughout my career. But I think all of those steps were so important to learn from. Like there's a lot of things that we won at and a lot of things that we failed at. And both gave us the knowledge that we needed to just, keep going. So.
Awesome. Speaking of that, there's, you have, you spend a lot of time and you have a lot of passion developing a personal brand for yourself as well. And just for example, like, I mean, I'm not joking when I said this at the start of the thing. Like we just had a comment come in saying, from Norman saying, I'm watching from the Philippines. My idol is Brigitte Kingsley because she's such a wonderful lady. Like we have people tuning in from around the world because you're on the show, which is like pretty awesome. And I wonder if you could just talk about that for a bit, because you've been, you've worked on so many films and television programs over the years. Like what got you focused in on that? And because I do know it's very important to you and something that you kind of bring to each project that you work on as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing that I realized through the years, it's what a gift it is to have a fan base and people that actually care about your movies and care about the projects that you do. And a lot of our fans came from Dark Rising. And back in the day, Dark Rising didn't necessarily have social media. There wasn't a way to interact with all of those fans. And I think as we sort of grew and social media became a thing, then we were able to connect with all of these people that were still Dark Rising fans. And then we started creating content for them. then that grew sort of into the calendar as well, because all the Dark Rising stuff and the Rocktapussy stuff, and it has a certain vibe, and it just kind of evolved into my own personal brand. And the thing that I love most really is interacting with the people that care about our projects and the people that support us, because at the end of the day, they're the reason why we get up in the morning and make these projects. So it's so lovely to be able to interact with people from the Philippines and interact with people around the world.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And I know we had talked about this too, and you said, I think we were on the phone together, and you said, yeah, things are taking off, and I think it might be because of it's like India right now or something, like something's connected to the film over there, and it's blowing up because I'm getting all these followers, and they're all from like that segment of the world, and I was just like how, what, and you're just like, I don't know, like it's just it's all about just putting in the time and doing the work, right? But also it's every time I talk to you guys, you're both yourself and Andrew, it's like there's always like this new segment of fans that kind of get attached to your projects and sort of follow your both of your journeys along, which is pretty inspiring.
Yeah, no, we're so grateful for each and every person that reaches out and sends comments and watches our stuff, because it matters to us that people enjoy the work. Yeah,
so we've got here's an audience member from the US. Just a quick thing from Orange Hat. It said, wow, it's really cool to hear about a story that's very, very similar to ours. Jamara and I met in college. Have been making low budget feature films ever since. Great advice. Thank you.
Oh, nice.
So that's great. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. And just a quick comment saying we have a few conventions in London. They're talking about London. Lots of love from London tonight. Yeah. So, but any plans to attend any of the conventions in London? I'm attending Shockstock, so I don't know if that makes you feel any better, but yeah, I'll be there. But yeah, would you venture down to maybe like London Comic-Con or something like that eventually?
I love all Comic-Cons. Like I love going to events like that. It's just a matter of being invited. So
whoa. The word is out. Yeah. So anyone tuning in from London, listen, reach out to the fine folks at London Comic-Con. Get Brigitte down there. She'd love to come.
Get your letter writing campaign going. Just start on the streets, start pushing flyers. Yeah.
Right. Kelly, you wanted to ask a couple more questions too, I think, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, giant evil subterranean cephalopods make for a really fun monster, obviously. In terms of the Astonishing Tales of Terror as a title, can we expect to see more of those? Is that something that's going to continue on? Is that going to become kind of like a franchise?
That's definitely the intent, for sure. Andrew's working on another one right now. And it's a completely different vibe, but it would be under the Astonishing Tales of Terror banner. And we hope to make money. It's just a matter of, again, getting the word out there, getting people to watch the film and support the film so that we can have enough momentum to do more.
And what kind of monster would you like to see in the future if we're continuing on?
Well, that's a good question.
I don't know. I know the one that Andrew's working on right now, and I don't know how much of it I'm allowed to talk about, but
broad strokes then. Yeah.
Broad strokes. Okay, I'm just going to tell you, broad stroke. He ended up buying a car that he's currently turning into a huge sort of machine with like big bombs that come out from the back and like torpedoes.
So we heard about this. This was what you were telling us about at Fan Expo, because you were like, this is when I have to put my producer hat on and we have to talk about producing stuff and budget stuff, and it sounds like a really cool like I'm all talking about that. You're like, a film fan of me loves this idea.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's like, so I need to buy a Mustang because I have this idea. And then sure enough, within like a week, we're somewhere up north, 7 hours away, checking out this car that he found. Turns out it's not the right car. So then we go somewhere else and he eventually finds the perfect car. We buy it, and then he sends it up north to like a shop where they start detailing it with, like, they painted it matte black. They put huge tires on it. And then they had to like carve out pieces so that the car can actually turn. Anyways, it's doing all sorts of crazy things to it. And it's going to be an epic movie. The script is incredible. I'm actually so excited about the script. but it's going to be another passion project. So it's going to take a little bit of time to get the money together and get the team together. But that's definitely going to be the next one.
It's amazing. It's kind of like a Canadian Mad Max. It's Mad Mac.
It's going to be
we'll call it.
Mad Mac. Yeah.
Mad Mac.
So I mean, in relation to that, I mean, do you think that like obviously all your films are sort of they always feel like and people, this is a common thing as well, especially with independent films or genre films. Everyone kind of feels like a family by the time they get done filming it, or that they're already a family and they've come back and they're working on a second or third or fourth project. You mentioned yourself and Landy worked on 8 projects together. What's like are there different challenges, do you think, like working in film and TV? And like, you know, what goes into keeping like a filmmaking family of actors and creators like working together? Like, what's the secret?
I think for us, it's just finding the people that you love, like the people that you vibe with. I think through the years, people have come and gone, and sometimes life just brings them in different directions. And but I think whenever we find somebody new that really meshes with the team, we just try to give as many opportunities and try to just try to treat everybody great and make sure everybody has a good time. And people tend to come back, because the difference with indie films is that everybody tends to really be there for the enjoyment of the journey. Like I remember on one shoot, Andrew said, like, take a look around. Like, there's no guarantee that we're all ever going to be here together again. So like, enjoy this moment. There was this beautiful sunset and everybody was happy and we were all making movies and we were at a cottage up north. And I remember being like, he's right. There's not a moment that we can take for granted, because all of these people, everybody works so hard and it's such a collaboration. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's just, loving each other and doing what you love. And I think if somebody comes into the world and doesn't have the passion or the same sort of joy or the same sort of kindness, then I think you have to kind of let those people go pretty quickly, because you want to just keep that vibe really positive and chill.
So other than Andrew, obviously, and Landy, who are some of the other actors and actresses that you've worked, like, do you know who is next on the list as far as who you've worked with the most over the years?
Oh my gosh, we worked with so many people. Elise keeps coming back, Elise Crocker.
Oh yeah, shout out Elise. Shout out Elise.
Yeah, Corey Lee from the Dark Rising days comes back a lot. We worked with Jacob a few times, also from Dark Rising, Nug Nargang. If you look at our movies, like, people tend to like Dan Carpenchuk. A lot of faces. Colin Mockery's come back quite a few times.
Yeah, shout out. Whose line is it? Whose line is it anyway? Yeah. Who was in Night Cries, right? So, and Night Cries, if you're looking to check out, and if you're looking to check out another one of Brigitte and Andrew's films, Night Cries is actually available on Tubi. It's actually available in the US and in Canada. So, if you're looking to check something out, you can actually stream it for free. Check it out on Tubi. It's a cool little sort of, like, again, melding those sort of genres together, right? Of like fantasy and horror and genre, and like, so it's great flick if somebody else wants to, people out there want to check it out. So okay, so listen, we were going to do this as a bit of a surprise, but we do just have to do this. So but I didn't really tell you this was happening, but it just happens, and like that's just the way it goes.
That sound means it's time for rapid fire. The hard-hitting question and answer segment brought to you by Wellington Brewery's Helles Lager. Helles Lager? Helles, yeah.
Okay, so this is the rapid fire question. It's actually when I break open a can of this and I take this off loop and I turn this off. There we go. I'm drinking a nice cold Helles Lager from Wellington Brewery. It's absolutely delicious. I have to do this for all the podcasts so they know I'm actually drinking a beer. So I have to crack it on air. Oh man, delicious. This used to be my halftime because I was talking the whole time. So I got to throw a big shout out to Kelly. I actually don't feel as thirsty as I usually do on here. But Brigitte, listen, this is a rapid fire section. We got to throw you into the fire and ask you a bunch of questions that are just like, some are stupid, some are serious. But are you ready to do this?
my gosh. Let's see if I can think fast on my feet today. It's a long day, guys.
Okay.
All right.
First question. This is a debate. Me and Kelly, we had a debate about this last night in our warm up to the show. It's a quick rapid fire yes or no question. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
It's not a sandwich. Why?
Because it's a hot dog.
Yes, thank you.
I hate you guys. It's in a bun. It's meat in a bun. Okay, whatever. Okay,
It's a
you gotta
bun.
pick.
It's not bread. Anyways, okay, so you got to pick one: cats or dogs. Which do you like most, and specifically why?
Well, I have to go with cats because I've always had cats, but I love them both. Yeah, it's honestly because I've always had one.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, cats. Take that, Kelly. So we got a new segment here. New question. Total Recall. Could you tell your audience about a favorite experience you've had while working on one of the TV shows that you've been a part of? Obviously, Dark Rising comes to mind, but is there a particular favorite experience that you think of when you remember TV?
Yeah, I mean, there's Dark Rising was so much fun. There's so many great memories. I think maybe the Christmas episode was probably we did this Christmas episode where everybody took different roles. And we had Nug Nargang on this particular project as an animated feature. But every time he would say anything, he was just so freaking funny that nobody could get their lines. And so Andrew at one point would have to start the camera and Andrew would have to walk away so that Nug could say his line. And then, we could get through the scene without Andrew laughing. So I think that was probably one of the most fun. It was just kind of a fun episode because everybody was taking each other's roles and making fun of each other in that specific.
Okay, awesome. Kelly, question number 4.
So the 1990s are seeing a bit of a retro resurgence, much like the 80s did a few years ago, because fashion is cyclical and time is a flat circle. In your opinion, what was the best thing about the 90s?
Oh God, the 90s, New Kids on the Block, of course. That was the best thing about the 90s. 100%.
Right stuff, right?
I'll accept that. Absolutely. The right stuff.
That's the correct answer. Oh man, I wish I had a New Kids sample to play right now. That would have been so amazing. That's how you know we're live, guys. That's how you know we're live. And last question, it's just called Have Your Say. Of course, listen, the state of theatrical film releases has been a hot topic over the last few years with the advent of streaming and people not being able to go to the theater, and especially with action and horror movies now filling up seats in multiplexes anywhere. Care to comment?
In terms of, I love going to the theaters. I don't think anything replaces it. Having said that, my husband decided to build a theater in our house so that he would never actually have to go to a theater again. So I don't know. I would miss the experience of like a good IMAX theater if it was gone. But. So
usually the correct answer to that question is no, but we will accept your answer because you've built a home theater, which is amazing, and I got to support that. So that's awesome. But that's the end of Rapid Fire. Thanks for being such a good sport about that. It's just a segment we love to do. But obviously that was a kind of fun. One of the segments we kept around because it, I don't know, just made us laugh, and I figured Kelly would have good questions for it too. So thanks for jumping into the fire with us. Listen, we are still broadcasting live to YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter, and obviously we're going to be rebroadcasting to all the major streaming platforms, including Spotify and Apple. But we're going to take a quick break and come back with a couple more questions, a couple more of your comments and questions from our audience out there. So stick around, please get involved in the conversation. We'll make you part of the broadcast when we come back. And we'll jump back in with some more questions about Rocktapussy and what you have coming up next right after this. Okay, and we're back with Brigitte Kingsley from Rocktapussy, and yes, that is our shameless self-promotion 30-second ad, because that's what YouTube permits us to do. So, but yeah, listen, if you're going to, if you want to check out anything, we've also got our nice coffee here, Black Fawn Distribution's Appetite for Caffeination Sweet Toffee O' Mine, especially if you need that little bit of a that sweet kick with a whole bunch of caffeine. It'll take you to the moon. Listen, we got to put a warning on this coffee, Kelly, because I had 2 cups of it the other day, like 2 full cups. So 2 of these like Deadly Grounds cups. So that's probably like 3 cups of coffee. And I think I might have almost had a panic attack the other day. So part of it was like doing the show, but at the same time, listen,
it's serious stuff. That coffee is not for the faint of heart.
No, you got to get ready for it. But hey, listen, if you're tired, you need to get a lot of shit done in the day. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Big thanks to going out to Deadly Grounds again for doing that. And listen, let's get into some more comments and some questions. So there are a few comments up here, Brigitte, about what you have coming up next. Obviously, always working on something. I know you mentioned a couple projects already that you can't tell us too much about. But just in general, anything that you'd like to talk about as far as like, what's coming up around the bend?
Sure. I mean, we just finished shooting a disaster film called Super Icyclone. It's about a giant frozen tornado that spits out these killer icyclones that would impale people in the eyes and various parts of the body. So that was a lot of fun to shoot. And that'll probably come out, I would imagine, sometime in the winter. And
that's fitting, right?
Yeah,
it's appropriate.
It'll be a lot of fun. And then Andrew's got the new project that with the car. That's another disaster movie under the Astonishing Tale of Terror banner, which will be a lot of fun, which we'll probably start shooting, I would imagine, sometime either late this year or early next year. And then, we've got the calendar that we do every year, which is a lot of fun. We'll probably start shooting that in August. And the Christmas movies that we do every once in a while. So we're doing a sequel to one of the Christmas movies that we did prior. So we'll be doing that in May.
Okay. Awesome. And where can people check out your stuff, like online, as far as that calendar goes and other stuff they can pick up?
Everything is on my site. So at Brigitte, it's BrigitteKingsley.com is where you can go to buy and see anything we have. And the best way to reach me is always on Instagram at BEE Kingsley.
Right. And we'll throw that up on the screen here too. We've I'll give it a second. And but yeah, we got lots of comments coming in too. We still have comments. Thanks everyone for tuning in and sticking around. Let me just let's get this. There's some good stuff coming in here. So we've got a hello from somebody from North Carolina. Hello. Thanks for tuning in. I've heard great stuff about North Carolina. John McIsaac, long-term listener of the show. Thanks, John, for tuning in. Great to hear from you again, man. Hope you're doing well. Fun fact about London, he says, I'm the only Carolina Hurricanes fan here. So there's probably a reason for that, John. But hey, you guys are having a great season. Maybe we'll see you down the road. But his question is this, what is the hardest thing about making a horror flick besides budget? Great question.
I mean, the budget really is the hardest thing. I think, besides that, it's just finding a good team, a team that shows up and, with horror films, there's a lot of props and certain things that you want to look great. So it's finding a good team to create those things, with the gore and the being impaled and all of that stuff. You want someone that can make that stuff believable and great. Okay,
perfect. Quick comment from Dan saying, a good idea to make a sequel to Rocktapussy. The sequels to Dark Rising were very well done. So sequels to Rocktapussy would be great too, with the octopus emoji. Shout out, Dan. That's great.
I would love that. Yeah, no, that'd be really fun. We'd love to do a Rocktapussy too. I know that we've got some ideas already brewing, but we need a lot of people to watch it and to get behind it, and we'd be happy to make another one.
Okay, perfect. Bree's got a question here saying, a geek question. If you could be part of any current huge current franchise, horror or anything else, I guess, which one would you want to be a part of? Or would you be interested in that at all? I mean, I don't know. I say you would be, but. Yeah, no, of course. I mean, in the horror world, I grew up on Halloween, so it would be really fun to make a Halloween, project. And in the rest of the world,
Snyder's, the Snyderverse would be fun to be part of any of that.
You'd want to be in the Snyderverse, like specifically the Snyderverse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
That's interesting. That's divisive. That's a divisive comment.
Sorry.
No. I'm a fan too.
Just a Batman movie. How about that?
Yeah, that's one of the weirdest stories. Yeah, we could do a whole podcast on that for sure. And I just we just mentioned Night Cry, so I don't know how to pronounce this person's handle. I think it's Ms. Milza Beats. I'm not going to post your first comment because it might be a spoiler for people who haven't seen Rocktapussy, but they did say also Night Cries made me believe in love again. So thanks for that.
Nice.
And that's all thing. Yeah. So amazing. And it just goes to show the reach that your films have had, over the years, which is fantastic. And this is a ton of comments. So this is pretty great. Okay, Sean said, "Hey, listen, my signed Brigitte calendar actually came in the mail today, so I'm a new fan." Amazing, thanks, Sean. Everyone, take note of Sean's lead. You can go to BrigitteKingsley.com, and you can check out all the stuff she has on there. And there was man. Oh, and he also followed it up saying, "Brigitte is awesome. Andrew is the luckiest man in Canada." I'm going to put that on a t-shirt, Sean, and give that to Andrew for his for Christmas. Richard just saying, so yeah, we love Brigitte.
Love you, Richard.
Hashtag, and a bunch of emojis, including Canada flag. Yes, we love Canada because that's where we all live. And Mark, obviously, Brigitte makes me smile. No problem sticking around. Looking forward to all the future projects. And thanks so much. Thanks so much for sticking around. So, Kelly, anything else for our guest tonight? Like, you got any other questions that are?
I do have one that is kind of slightly off topic, but I'm going to ask it anyways. I know you've written some TV Hallmark Christmas movie type films. What is the secret to writing like a Christmas holiday movie that stands out from the rest? What is the secret formula for writing a Christmas movie? Because they are endlessly fascinating to me.
I think for me, it's just writing from your heart. Like I love movies in general. So when we started making these, I was like, well, I'm kind of a target audience, so I might as well take a stab at it and start writing them. And my secret is just write the scenes that I'd want to see if I'd be watching someone else's movie.
Right.
It's like, I try to have a lot of fun with that. And I also try to, the lead characters, I always try to find someone's essence and put it in them. So it's like, never just write a character, always have somebody or like, let it be inspired by someone, just so that it's got a little bit of a soul of some sort,
I love that. I'd love to see like a Christmas movie like that also has like a horror twist to it. Like as the movie progresses, you realize that like something's not quite right. That would be lovely.
I would love that.
Or like a tornado, like a monster tornado.
That improves you. The best is when we were making Super Icyclone. It was supposed to be like a family movie. It's sort of like, because they're very formulaic as well, right? And the distributor's like, we want it to be really fun and all that stuff, but it's got to be family friendly. And we're like, okay, cool. And they're like, but like, we also want like, a big icicle being slammed in someone's eye. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So like, kind of family friendly, but
also with icicles in the eye. Yeah.
So it was actually pretty funny to try to balance that out.
Well, hey, we led the show. Our top story on the show was Tommy Wiseau's was it Big Shark? What's it called?
Big Shark. Big Shark. Oh, hi, Shark.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Shark. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say that all summer.
Yeah. If that's not the tagline for the movie, I'm going to be greatly disappointed.
Well, write a letter.
Yeah, I'm going to start.
Awesome. Well, listen, thanks so much. We're just going to wrap it up now. I think just because we've got, we've gone over our limit. We said we would be done within the hour, but things happen. Thanks so much for doing this, Brigitte. We really, obviously we love having you on the program, but also just love seeing your career sort of like expand and sort of your reach sort of like develop as well, as far as like all the projects that you're working on and how you're doing that. It's really, just for our audience out there, if anything is a testament to sort of how much, you make films that can actually reach people, and creating stuff for other people is a positive endeavor. I think that's one of the things I think you guys are really, really strong at doing. And I think it's clear that inspires a lot of people, both as just the audience, right? People just watching stuff, but also people making stuff out there.
Oh, thank you so much. That's very sweet. Thanks for having me. It was so much fun.
Awesome. Yeah. So anything to add? Obviously, if you please follow Brigitte on Instagram. I'm sure everyone here is already, but it's at B Kingsley. You can check out the rebroadcast of this show on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. And of course, if you're looking to get in touch with the program, please drop myself or Kelly a line. You can drop us a line at takeover@blackfawndistribution.com. And of course, that's another edition of Takeover Tuesday. Big thanks to obviously our guest Brigitte Kingsley for joining us. My new partner in crime, Kels McNells. Kelly, thank you so much. Hopefully you had a good time too. And episode 42, when we launch it, we'll have you on the program as well. But as to a big shout out to our audience, thanks again for coming back and tuning in. We really, really do appreciate it. And we promise we'll be on all the time, at least as much as we can. We do have some hot stove from Hells, which were really popular when we started doing them. We've got one coming up soon, so we're going to be announcing that very, very shortly, with the date to be posted on our Instagram. That's going to be a really, really fun one to do. And then of course we've got some other content that we're doing. I felt like we should give everyone a little bit of a taste, so everyone that stuck around. So do you want to give them?
I agree.
Okay. So myself, there was a purpose of asking us to ask that 90s question, Brigitte, and that's because we've decided to do 90s night, which is basically myself and Kelly watch a movie and then we talk about it. American Psycho, I think, is the first one that we're going to do, although that could change. But this is just an idea of actually what we're going to do. As you can see, Kelly is very determined in that photo. Myself, I look very, perturbed, I guess. But it's going to be a great thing. We're going to focus on movies. Now, someone did say, well, I don't know, American Psycho came out in 2000. Yeah, but it was filmed in the 90s and it was written in the 90s. And it's a 90s flick, so whatever. Yeah. I think it premiered in January 2000, so whatever.
That's like basically the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. So we're doing a couple of those. And the other one that we're actually doing, I think we can announce too, is Kelly had never seen Devil's Advocate. And I was like, dude, you got to see Devil's Advocate. It's amazing. So we're not sure which one we're going to lead with, but make sure you check out our YouTube channel, subscribe. Like I said, smash that button, ring the bell, do all that stuff. We don't put it on the screen because I'm too busy. But make sure, follow us on Instagram and do all that stuff. But again, thanks everyone for tuning in. I think there's some last comments here. So let's just see what we got here. Thank you guys. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Someone is throwing up a bunch of emojis here. So that's great. Great show. Well done. Nobody deserves all the flowers more than Brigitte. Aww. Agreed. Thanks for the excellent show. Enjoyed the takeover. Thanks for tuning in, Dan. We really appreciate your support. And yes, and this is the person that was from all around the world. I think this is our furthest viewer I think we've ever had on the show. Thanks for the amazing takeover. Love you and enjoy. On that note, thanks everyone for tuning in. Of course, we did broadcast live to Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube tonight. And please tune in for the next one. Catch us on Instagram and our Facebook post, and we'll make sure that we announce the next show, and you can set yourself a reminder. I got nothing else. You got to play my walk-off music, Kelly. You got anything to add?
I need the button for that. We got to get that set up.
Yeah, we're don't worry. There's more stuff coming. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
And that does it for another episode of Black Fawn Distro's Takeover Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, please remember to like, follow, share, and subscribe, and help us spread the word about the program and our incredible guests. If you're interested in grabbing some more information about Black Fawn Distribution or want to check out our film titles and merchandise, you can find us online at blackfawndistribution.com. We'd also like to thank our sponsors: Wellington Brewery's Hellas Lager, Deadly Grounds Coffee, Twisted Teas, and of course, Black Fawn Distribution. Just a reminder, you can always catch Black Fawn Distro's Takeover Tuesday live on Facebook, YouTube, and our other social media platforms. Or pick up one of our retransmissions on any of the major streaming platforms. Until next time, I'm your host, Benner, from Black Fawn Distro, and we'll see you soon.